Hi, welcome back to the Truth Doctor Show. My name is Dr. Courtney Tracy. I am known as the Truth Doctor. On this show, I talk about the world through a mental health lens using pop culture and the media as my medium. If you have seen my videos and have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe, like this video if you like this video topic, and be sure to hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any of my videos. Today, we are talking about defense mechanisms. What are defense mechanisms? Defense mechanisms are psychological strategies that we use unconsciously to avoid negative feelings, thoughts, or situations that we don't actually want to find ourselves in. I'm going to list out really briefly what the top 6 defense mechanisms are that we experience as human beings. Let's start with number 1. Number 1 is repression. And this is where we push down negative thoughts, beliefs, or feelings that we don't actually want to experience. Our ego unconsciously takes these thoughts, feelings, or beliefs and pushes them down into our unconscious so that we don't consciously have to process them. I would say that the most common form of this happening is when we experience something traumatic. Our brain actually will defend against our body and mind's own desire to not want to experience something painful, and we will repress those memories or those feelings unconsciously so that we don't always have to think about or feel what it is that was difficult that we went through. The second one is called denial, and it's a little bit different because with this one, we are actually consciously, sometimes unconsciously, just really not wanting to acknowledge something that happened.
I'm in denial.
Most people who are in denial don't usually say they're in denial.
That's because they're in denial about being in denial.
Many people use denial all the time in their daily lives. Like, for example, a partner may want to just ignore all the signs that they see that their other partner may be cheating on them. Maybe you're a student and you're in college, or you're an employer and you're realizing that this isn't really the career that you want. This isn't really the degree that you want, or you know that you have a test coming up and you don't necessarily want to study for it. We deny the reality of what we know is actually going on, or that we perceive is actually going on, because it would just be too difficult for us to actually acknowledge that it is going on, or that we have to do something that we don't want to do. The third one is called projection. And that's where when we are feeling like really intense feelings, thoughts, or beliefs within ourselves that we don't want, or that we can't appropriately or express in a healthy way, we project that onto somebody else in the form of either, if we're angry, we assume that they're angry, or if we're angry at this person and we can't necessarily take it out on that person, we will then take it out on somebody else. Let's say that you don't like somebody. You really don't like them. And what you do instead of outwardly expressing that you don't like them is you assume that they must not like you. You assume, oh, they hate me, and so that's why I hate them. Because it wouldn't feel comfortable for you to just not like them. You would have to find a reason. That reason being that you project the hate that you have for them for their hate onto you that may or may not exist. The fourth one that's kind of similar to projection is displacement. And this is where you actually take out your feelings onto someone else versus the person that you're actually feeling that way towards. Here's an example, which is terrible. When an adult or any human being feels really stressed at work, for example, they may get in their car and experience road rage, taking their anger out on somebody else. Or they may come home, for example, and kick their dog or scream at their children. They cannot hold the energy that they're having within themselves, the emotion that they're having in themselves, and they take it out on somebody that they shouldn't take it out on.
Why did you do that? I needed to hurt someone.
The fifth one I want to talk to you guys about is called regression. And this is where we may go back in time and start to engage in some behaviors that we wouldn't otherwise engage in, but that we have engaged in the past. Sometimes people think that this is a bunch of woo-woo, like, oh, you experience trauma and then you go back to acting like a child, like sucking your thumb or being in the fetal position. And that does in fact happen sometimes, but I think it pushes people away from this, oh, regression can't actually be a thing. No, it really is. And here's some more modern day examples. Somebody who used to have an addiction problem and then is going through a really difficult time in their lives and they regress back to using substances. Or somebody who doesn't believe that they could ever be unfaithful in their marriage again, and then they're experiencing something really difficult and they regress back to those old behaviors. It doesn't just have to be developmental behaviors, being an adult to acting like a child, but it can be. And the last defense mechanism is called sublimation. And this is where we take a really difficult emotion, thought, or belief that we have about ourselves, and we release it in a more positive way, in a more healthy way, in a more socially acceptable way. Here's an example. one day I was feeling like I was going to have an absolute fucking panic attack. And what I did instead was I came into this office and I created a role play POV TikTok video where I was myself feeling like I was going to have a panic attack because I was dissociating and panicking. And then I also played my truth doctor role, put on this jacket and played a back and forth with myself to have a conversation to get me to feel better. I engaged in creativity and art in order to release the anxiety that I was experiencing in a healthy way versus just laying in my bed in a catatonic state, which means just not moving at all and just doing nothing, which is also fine to do. But this is one of the best ways that I can release any negativity or uncomfortability that I'm feeling within myself. I hope that you found these helpful. If you have any questions about any other defense mechanisms or anything that I discussed in this video, please let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe if you like this video, like it if you liked it, hit the bell for notifications. And as always, I am glad you exist.